And by the time I came into it, I think there in 2002 there was 12,000 alpacas, which still wasn't a lot when you compare it to sheep or cattle.
Right.
And they were mainly living on estates with rich people. To be perfectly honest with you, I think I was the youngest alpaca purchaser around in those days, and I think I was how old was I? 32 or something. Yeah, they were, well, okay, well, we've got to breed them all up and make their fiber better, because the original ones, they looked a bit, not very fluffy, shall we say. And so it's always been about improving the shape of the animal and the quality of the animal for the fiber. But yeah, there was all of these alpacas wandering around, and yeah, people really didn't know much, but we learned really quickly. I think we know so much more about them now than we ever did, which is great. And there's so many enthusiastic people about them. And I think when you've met one, it's a nice one. It's hard not to think, actually they're pretty amazing.
I need to ask, because alpaca wool is quite famous.
It can be it should be like cashmere. So it can be really high quality, and it's getting better all the time. So there's bits of alpaca that the blanket is the best quality, and the younger the animal, the better the quality is. So the first fleece is always finer than subsequent fleeces, generally speaking.
Right.
Sorry, excuse my ignorance. The blanket?
The saddle bit, so the bit on the back and the sides is the bit of the animal that's got the best fibre on it, and then you've got the neck, which is usually good but shorter, so that you can't use that in the same batch of yarn, for example, because it would fall out of the machine when you're spinning it. And then the sort of the thirds, the coarser stuff, is the legs and the belly around the bottom. And that can be used as well, but you wouldn't necessarily put it in your finest yarn. So there's various grades. And then you've got the 12 different colour groups and all the shades in between. So they go from black to white, browns, fawns and greys, and then rose greys and silver greys and spotty greys and all sorts of other things that come out now. And then you've got the different greys and what you're going to use it for. So each animal is going to give you something, but it's you need a lot of the same if you're going to make like a big batch of it.
So what else are they used for then?
Well, nowadays they're used for walking. I think the trekking side of it's really taken off, especially during lockdown, when people were looking for something to do and go outside and be safe. Not during actual lockdown, but when they could go and visit farms. People want a nice thing to do, and they can literally go and take an alpaca for a walk. And depending on where the farm is, you can go to some amazing locations and take one for a walk. You can't put anything on their backs. They're not designed to carry anything. But some people will offer experience days. You can go and spend a day or half a day with some alpacas and feed them and spend time with them and have a cream tea with them. So there's that. And then there's people doing yoga with alpacas now, which is quite cool. Yeah, they literally do yoga in a field with alpacas sat around. I haven't tried it myself.
The alpacas, they do downward dog and watch me, look at my neck.
I think they just sit there and go, what are they doing? But they're very calming, you see. So it's supposed to help you with your whole calming thing.